Yo, what's going on, guys? Jan Moses here from Broth Cindy, bringing you guys another episode of Broth Talk, where Harry and I are going to be reviewing season 3 and previewing season 4, even though we're a few days into the new season. Harry, how's it going?
It's going great. It's always great to be back on the podcast. Although I didn't really get to play much season three as I expected because I was home and the Wi-Fi wasn't that great. I'm still really excited to be back. I'm pretty hyped for season four. There's some things I'm not the biggest fan of, but regardless, like I said, I'm glad to be back and we can discuss.
Yeah, awesome. I do want to just lead off this podcast by saying that Harry and I, in our pre-recording time together, noticed that there is some issue with the audio. Apparently, my mic is cutting out on Harry's end. So if I have to repeat any questions or anything, that's going to be why. But other than that, I think we're good to jump right into it. I think I kind of wanted to just quickly start with my brief opinion on season 3 as a whole. I know you didn't play a lot of season 3 towards the end of it. I thought that season 3 was pretty mid overall. When the season first launched, it was kind of fun because we had clutch time that was brand new, and I love clutch time. I'll talk about it more later on in this pod. And the end of it I thought was pretty nice given the moments of the month that we had, that agenda. But the middle of the season was pretty brutal for a variety of reasons. What are your general thoughts on season 3, Harry?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, earlier on when the season began, I feel like I was very, I still am really hyped about the new clutch time game mode. Everything kind of felt cool, but I will say the middle was very brutal. I mean, even though I wasn't available to play much, there was still nonetheless nothing really grabbing me and really grasping my attention. I want to continue playing my team, especially during that middle part. But yeah, everything else was great. Yeah, it was a decent season. I would agree that it was mid. I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say it was good. It was very in the middle.
Yeah, I will say that the lows really did feel like lows, like that middle period right around just before Christmas and then on Christmas, namely the Hoopmas promo, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It really felt dry, and that was really frustrating. But yeah, to your point, I think the beginning and the ends of the season, I think in a way raised it up to a mid season for us both. I want to talk about clutch time next, and I'm going to give you the floor here because I already talked about how much I liked it. Did you play clutch time at all? What did you think about it? Yeah, I guess that's it for now. What do you think? Clutch time.
Okay, yeah. So I think this game mode is amazing. I'll explain into it. This might be the beginning of my negatives for 2K in general for my team. I think it's really fun. I think the gameplay in 2K22 is some of the best gameplay. It's funny. I had a friend over, and he hasn't really played 2K much in the past three. I think he hasn't played fully since 2K17, 18ish. But he said that he thinks, and he played a little of 19, and he said that this is the best gameplay since 2K19. So that's automatically going to make a game like Clutch Time or Game Mode where it's very fast paced and you don't need to really spend too much time on it and you can grind it out. And the fact that you can get a Damian Lillard just by playing easy games is amazing. I think it's awesome. But I think the gameplay is so good that it carries game mode. I think the rewards are terrible. I mean, in the beginning I thought the spin thing was cool, but I think it is I think this could have been a really good opportunity for 2K to add even a little MT rewards or anything to make each game more rewarding, but they didn't. I think the spin thing is such an easy way to it's like a very minimum-esque thing that's very random and there's no guarantee you'll really get anything.
Yeah.
And that really disappoints me because I think one reason I really haven't been that into 2K the past couple seasons is because I really do feel like it's the MT rewarding for every game mode is just not great. Yeah, you can snipe and you can make a lot of MT doing that, but other than that, it's really hard to make MT. I mean, I think they really catered towards XP and tokens in this game mode. there's no game mode that you can really just play for a while and make MT. So I really that kind of rubs me the wrong way because it kind of brings back the pay to win esque things. But so my entire point was pretty much I really like the game mode just because I like the fast paced 5v5 generic game because I think the gameplay is so much fun that it's able to carry it. But other than that, like besides getting the main Lillard or whatever the 50 win 100 win is, I feel like the purposes of playing it are just like very low.
Yeah, that was very, very well said. I agree with basically all of your points. Like, I've also really enjoyed the gameplay for the most part this year. And I've spoken with Deuces about this before, about the rewards and how, like, I know I'm in the minority of people that are going to continue to play game modes like Clutch Time in spite of the rewards being so mediocre because I just enjoy playing the game. It would be really nice if they did improve the rewards. Like, the wheel spin now, they've changed a couple of the lower tier rewards, but it's still not worth it. I think in the grand scheme of things, if you're not running diamond contracts on the majority of your players, there's a chance where if you deal with a lot of like rage quitting, like from your opponent's end, you actually end up losing MT, I would think sometimes.
Yep.
Which is
Because
pretty
listen,
bad.
even if you win, you're getting what like 350 MT, and that's probably a max. Like I've gotten much lower, and I think I said it in the last podcast, but even if they were to be like, all right, every win you get like maybe even 1.5k to 2k MT, that is nothing. The 2k can easily do that, and I would still be happy that I'm making MT because all of my players have diamond contracts. And I honestly think, and if your players don't have diamond contracts and you're playing with pink diamonds and Galaxy Opals and you have a good team, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be losing MT. Like you said, if you're getting rage quits and everything along those lines. So I feel like that's very. I'm trying to think of the right word, but that is unacceptable. I really do. So those are my thoughts. But other than that, like I said, I keep saying the game is really fun game. I mean, even my friend who was over, he played it, and it's funny, I left the room, and he started up a new game, so he was having fun on it. I just think the rewards need to be better. I would even say it's not even mediocre. It's, like, lower than mediocre.
Yeah, no, they're really, really bad. I mean, like, I just, like, quickly did the math on it right now. Let's say you were to bring a lineup of 5 Pink Diamond players into Clutch Time. To give, if you don't have any contract cards to put on your player, if you wanted to just spend MT for the 5 contracts, let's say you're running Pink Diamond, Damian Lillard. That's 600 MT for every 5 games, which comes out to 120 MT per game. So 120 MT per game per player, if you're running 5 Pink Diamonds, is 600 MT again, obviously, for all 5. So you're basically spending 600 MT a game to play Clutch Time. And there have been plenty of times where I've not hit, even including what I get with the wheel spin afterwards, 600 MT for the game that I played. Again, especially if your opponent quits, you're getting, what, maybe like 100 MT, if that. And then if you get the wheel spin, your wheel spin lands on like anything less than 500 MT, you're not making your MT back. So you're actually losing MT for playing, which is really, really unfortunate. I mean, that's still my biggest gripe with it. The only other thing that is a bigger issue for me, because I run a lineup with almost all diamond contracts. My only non-diamond contracted player right now is the Diamond Serge Ibaka, which actually is going to bring me to my other complaint. But I want to first start with my main complaint, which is like Michael Redd in season 3 and now Reggie Lewis, who I really, really want. Like, I think Reggie Lewis, if you look at all of his animations and his tendencies and his badges, he's in the conversation for best shooting guard in the game right now. Like, I think he's in the conversation maybe with Klay Thompson as being one of the best, and I would prefer him over Joe Johnson, actually. But the problem is, just like with Michael Redd, Reggie Lewis is locked behind RNG, which is really, really unfortunate. That's my biggest issue with the rewards, for sure, is the RNG nature of it. But also, this is like, I think even a bigger nuisance to me right now. I don't know if you were on during this time, Harry, but I think there was an issue when the Tis the Season promo came in where people couldn't put the players from that promo into their Clutch Time lineups. So 2K put out a patch for that, and they fixed it. But in fixing it, there's some bug that they put into the game where any players that you acquired, at least this is how I interpret the bug to be, any player you've acquired after December the 24th does not stay in your lineup when you back out or when you start a new Clutch Time game. So, like, for example, I have the Galaxy Opal LeBron and I have Serge Ibaka, and I'm running them at small forward and center respectively now in Clutch Time. Every game that I play, those two get booted out of my lineup, so I only have Gary Payton, Klay Thompson, and Dolph Schayes in my lineup still, and I had all those players before that patch was introduced. So they need to fix that, because that is to me very, very annoying. Like especially if you're like
Yeah,
trying to
you know,
grind out
it's
agendas.
funny because sorry, I
No, you're
noticed that
good.
was happening to me. I didn't realize there was like an entire backstory of them screwing up and then trying to patch it. But it's like it's to your point. I mean, if we're already losing MT from playing this game clearly. If you're not having diamond contracts, like the fact that they're making it even more of an inconvenience to put players, in the lineups, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I feel like that's a bit unacceptable. I feel like and that's something they can easily fix. So I really hope they do fix it soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really do hope so. I will say that just like you said, overall, I really enjoy playing Clutch Time, and I know I'm in the minority as when it comes to people that are going to continue to play the game mode in spite of the terrible rewards. But just like you said at the end there,
Well,
we
I'll
need.
play it because I enjoy the game. Yeah, I'll play it because of the gameplay, but I really don't like. And it's cool to get the rewards, but like, there's nothing that's keeping me going from game to game besides having to play a 50 game set to get a reward.
Yeah, I mean, it would just, and it would also be nice for replayability, even like in this current season where you need to get 100 wins for Galaxy, Opal, Pascal, Siakam. It would be nice where, the people that do get that reward and get it early enough in the season where they want to continue to play Clutch Time, as you and I have spoken about before, it would be nice if they gave us some form of replayability by giving us a continual award. Like, I guess tier 10 is when you get Pascal. If they had like a repeatable
Hmm.
tier 11 where they gave you an X amount of MT, which we discussed. But anyways, I think that's it for
Yes.
Clutch Time. Unless you have any other thoughts about that.
No, that's about it.
Awesome. Let's get on to the rewards for all the game modes. I don't want to go through each one. I just want to say that, in my opinion, the reward players in season 3 were pretty bad.
Yep, 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 yep.
Across literally all game modes. I mean, I don't think we've had a season yet, and by that I mean seasons 1 and 2, where there was a player in one of the triple threat one of the triple threat game modes that I was not interested in. Like, at least once in each season, there was one player where I was like, oh, I would like to be able to go and grind for whoever it is. Like whether it was my mind is blanking on the name of the diamond power forward that we got that was really glitchy to start season 2, like really good on defense. I'm gonna pull him up right now if I can, but like there was a player basically in every single season that we got in the triple threat offline and online boards that I wanted. This past season, there was literally no one that I wanted between the Calvin Nat, the Keith Van Horn, the Detlef Schrempf, and the Bryant Reeves. Literally none of them excited me. Same with Unlimited, although with Unlimited it's kind of tough. Like, I love this Gary Payton card, and Gary Payton is my favorite card that I've used in my team this year, but I don't think he's worth that grind. I don't think any player is worth that grind unless you genuinely enjoy playing, Unlimited, which leaves us basically with Limited because clearly 2K does not give a crap about draft mode anymore with Andre Drummond, and now this season we have Tony Parker, which is again an unmitigated disaster. But like for me,
Yep.
it was Thunder Dan, like Dan Marley is the only player that I thought was worth playing, and even now he's like my backup 2 guard until I get either the new Joe Johnson or Reggie Lewis. So, I mean, did you like any of these reward cards that we got in season 2?
No, not at all. I mean, talk me saying there was nothing dragging me to play this game. Like, none of the rewards hooked me. I mean, not even limited. I don't even think I cared to even play week 1 because from the get-go, I had no interest in getting Dan Marjorie on the team.
Yeah.
I thought that the triple threat offline rewards and online just weren't interesting, and I think the Jason Richardson did interest me a little, but like you said, I don't think any card is worth that grind, and as much as he's great, he's not a long-term card. Like, I cannot see myself having him on my team, no matter who's on my team at the end of the year. And, like you said, Unlimited is such a hard grind, and I think, and if you disagree, I'd like to hear your thoughts. I think as of now, how easy XP is, I would very much so make the argument that Unlimited is so much harder to even comprehend doing than an XP grind is to level 40. So it blows my mind that the level 40 grind is always treated so much better than Unlimited. Like the fact that level 40 was a Galaxy Opal AI and this is a Jason Richardson. Like, I think the AI is, in my opinion, is a lot better, and he's clearly a bigger name, and that's why they used him as a level 40. So I feel like they continue doing that, and it's crazy to, like you said, Gary Payton was a lot of work, and you don't even see him being worth it. But he's still a fun card, and I'm sure you can can see him to some extent using him, maybe even on the bench for later on in the year. I couldn't see myself doing it with Richardson, so there was really no game mode that I was like excited to play. So yeah, but like you said, normally 2K normally has like that one card where you're like, I must get him, whether limited, triple threat offline that they added, but there was literally nothing that interests me to play.
Yeah, it really sucked. I mean, you're right. You can make a legitimate argument that the player that was the most intriguing to get was that level 40 Allen Iverson card. And then what sucks about that card is, like, while he's a lot of fun to use, I really enjoy using him. He's a point guard, and 2K has just given us way too many point guards, between, I mean, not everyone has Gary Payton, obviously, but, like, Gary Payton was there. You have Dame Lillard from Clutch Time. You have John Morant from the previous season's Limited, before Season 3. And, now you have AI. Like, this season
Yeah, can
right
I add
now.
on to that?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
It's crazy because if you remember in the first podcast we did talking about Season 1, this has been an ongoing theme and problem since then. I mean, when they put the Diamond, I think they put Diamond Chris Paul, and then immediately after a Diamond Derrick Rose, I don't even think they let a full week go by, and they didn't even let the Chris Paul sink in and let people want to buy him or whatever. So I don't know what it is with point guards. I mean, even now with the Tony Parker and everything and the Ja Morant, I don't know why they just keep feeding us all these point guards and making it gives. It's cool to give us point guards. I mean, they're probably the biggest attraction on my team, but when you keep adding so many more point guards, all you're doing is destroying any value on the previous point guard you're putting out. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. Like, on the one hand, I did enjoy them giving us a bunch of short point guards because short point guards were viable, and they still are to an extent. I know Mismatch Expert is not what it used to, but it still is a good.
No, but I agree. But if you think about it, again, that's because the gameplay is so good this year. Point guards are fun to use. I don't think that has anything to do with the content. You know what I mean? Like, that was my point about Clutch Time. Like, the gameplay carries it because of how much fun it is, but the rewards are just not as in tune with it.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very good point. I think that was a very good addition to what I was saying. But yeah, point being, the rewards for Season 2 were pretty bad. The last thing I really want to touch on in Season 3 are basically the events and promos of note. And I think we need to start with Hoopmas. I don't know how much you engaged with my team when it came to Hoopmas, but if you didn't miss out on anything, because literally all Hoopmas was a daily login where you had a shot, because it was RNG, of course, to get a candy cane or a present. And the present was nice because you can get a Hall of Fame badge. You can get, I think, 2 Diamond consumable packs. I think you can get, like, the 6 series packs with Kobe. But really, after you got the Hall of Fame badge, that was only a one-time thing. There really wasn't anything else to really grind for. And then the other things you got were, like, holiday-themed basketballs. You would get gold badges. I think you can get, like, contracts. It was really a huge L, in my opinion. I don't even really want to talk about it more than that on my end. Do you have anything you want to add to Hoopmas?
No, not at all. I wish I could provide more evidence, but I think either it was 2K20 or 2K21 that went all out for Christmas, and I know people were really excited for 2K to follow along that trend, but I mean, it was really disappointing. I didn't really get to involve myself that much, but even the fact of me going on and getting a little Christmas pack that had no value to me was pointless, and it's sad because I don't want to compare it to Madden, but Christmas is something Madden does so well. I mean, even the idea where you can get presents and be able to open them on Christmas, which, I mean, listen, I'm Jewish, but I thought it was cool, and I thought it just added such a fun flavor to my winter breaks when I would be off from school. So it's really disappointing that 2K can't make the holidays as fun as Madden can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Madden, we can have a whole podcast on that, obviously, but the way they do it with the rerolls and the presents that you can get and just the solos, there's just so much more to engage with, I mean, I've said it to Deuces a bunch. The reason for me coming back to my team has nothing to do with Madden not being a good game, or I should say Madden Ultimate Team not being a good game mode. I think Madden Ultimate Team, in many ways, trumps my team in terms of their content, their level of engagement with the community, like what they give people to play, basically, and engage in, which is not just gameplay, but also like I said, like you have alternate currency that you can use to do rerolls to make MT or make coins. You can
Yep.
use those alternate coins to go and buy presents for the holiday promo. So there really was a lot more to play. The only reason that I really didn't enjoy Madden was because the gameplay was kind of taking a turn for the worse. And while they have improved it this year, I'm
Yep.
happy with my decision to go back to my team because I just missed playing a basketball game, even though I know MUT is the better game mode in my opinion overall, and the gameplay has just been so good this year. But
I
anyways,
agree,
go
but
ahead.
I mean, although I agree that. Sorry, one more thing. Although
No,
I agree
please.
that 2K gameplay is years above Madden gameplay right now, it's like times like this where I see that 2K is really dropping the ball on like the holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there's such better ways to make virtual currency on Madden. These are times where it makes me kind of miss playing Madden, but I really hope that in the upcoming seasons, 2K really gets a hold of being like rewarding us better, not just for the holidays, but for every game mode.
Yeah, it would be really nice to see, because my one concern is, this past weekend we had a limited event, like for like the weekend like limited thing, where the requirement was that you had to bring original owned players or reward players, and I only got to play one game, and my opponent quit immediately. His team was not very good,
Wait,
but
that was really the limited restriction?
yeah, like original owned
That is the
players.
most pay-to-win restriction ever.
I
That's
know.
ridiculous.
I got so lucky, Harry.
Oh my
My
God.
opponent had Diamond Steph Curry, Diamond Trey Young, and the rest were gold players.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
quit immediately, and I got my
Oh my
ring.
God.
So I got blessed. I only had to play, and didn't even really get to play, that one game, and I saw so many
I
people
don't want
on
to
my
keep
team.
knocking on 2K, but that is
Go ahead.
everything I hate when what they. Oh, sorry, you cut out. I didn't. I thought you were done.
No, no, please. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. All you. All you. Can you hear me? Yes? Harry?
I can hear you
Okay,
now.
good.
Yep.
No, go ahead. No, please, finish your
Sorry.
point. It's all good. All good. Finish your point.
No, I was saying that that like takes all the fun from limited of make lineups and being able to. I think that's such an easy and uncreative and money grab. You limited.
Yeah, because the reward players are not nearly as good as players you can get out of packs. So, but what I was gonna say was I saw plenty of people on the My Team subreddit come out and say that their opponents had really, really good teams that were basically Galaxy Opal, LeBron, and stuff like that, which means they're packing those players, which means they're ripping packs enough
Mm.
to get those players. So to your point, it's like, yeah, you're rewarding the money spenders essentially. But regardless, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, I wanted to quickly talk about moments cards because I know we had the moments of the month, which we'll talk about in a bit. But there was a time period, like a month-long time period, where the only moments cards that we had received for a month were on December the 13th when we got a Pink Diamond KD and a Ruby Quentin Grimes, and
Yep.
then we didn't get any moments again until moments of the month. Um, I want to now segue that into the moments of the month really quickly, and I want to get your thoughts on it because I really, really enjoyed it, and I think at least until they're done with the NBA 75th anniversary promo that they're doing on Tuesdays, I'm cool with them doing this because this is something kind of like Madden. They give us something to grind for that we can just get from playing the game and not having to rip packs for it. So my questions to you, Harry, about this. What were your overall thoughts on moments of the month, and do you enjoy getting moments cards in this way compared to having to rip packs for them?
Um, I don't know if I would have a preference. I would need to think about it. I mean, I initially liked the old way of just putting them in league packs, after a good game. I thought this was interesting, though. I feel like they did a really good job of balancing out rubies, amethyst diamonds, and pink diamonds, and for them to come out all at once. I thought it was pretty cool. There were some cards I really liked. I mean, being a Knicks fan, I thought it was awesome to see a pink diamond, Kemba Walker, um, even the Galaxy Opals. That's when the DeMar came out, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, the DeMars was a pretty cool card. I feel like he's a very undervalued card on my team. I'm trying to think of other cards. Getting a Jalen Brown and the Trey Young was really cool. So I guess I'm a fan. I think I prefer it the older way, not even in this 2K, but in the older ones of putting them out after each game into league packs. But I thought this was a unique idea. So I'm glad that 2K is kind of they're coming up with new ideas to keep my team a bit fresh and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally kind of hopeful that they do give us more of these in the future because, again, I think it gives the community something to engage with, which is fantastic. And I mean, that's basically all I have to really say about that. I mean, I do hope that they put them back into packs as well, and I think maybe eventually they will. But for right now, I'm cool with them doing what they're doing. The last thing I want to talk about,
Mhm.
I guess, give a favorite player or promo from season 3 that you wanted to talk about.
I'll let you go first. I need to do a bit more scanning.
Sure. Okay. So my two favorite players from season 3, one of which has to be Dr. J. I mean, he's just so damn good, and I feel like he's kind of getting slept on because we've gotten a plethora of wing players to come into the game over the last month. I mean, we already have mentioned what Klay Thompson, Joe Johnson, and Reggie Lewis as 3 players that came along with season 4. And that was all basically on the same day, even though Reggie Lewis is a reward player. And we've gotten many other players that fit that same role as Dr. J. But this card is just so good. And I think I mentioned it before, maybe not on this forum, but I'm treating this year of my team as my last year of my team potentially because I'm more than likely not gonna get it again next year. We'll see. It just depends on
Really?
what I want to do. Well, I'm not sure if I want to go back to Mutt, if I want to play my team again, just because like it's like you said, like while I'm enjoying the gameplay, I think at some point I'm going to want to be rewarded more, and we'll have
Yeah.
to see how I
Yep.
feel next season in that regard. But if I'm gonna do that, I want to treat this as like my final year, and I want to pay respects to players that have meant something to me in my team run since 2K13, and one of those players is Dr. J, who was my very first ever big snipe. I think back in 2K16.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I literally fired up stream after I sniped him, losing my shit.
I mean, listen,
Go
to
ahead.
talk about how long I've known Jan, I remember that very vividly. So that's crazy to even think about.
I know, which is crazy. That was 6 or 7 2Ks ago, which is
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to make us sound like boomers over here, but yeah, I love this Dr. J card, and then obviously LeBron James. I mean, the NBA 75 card art is just so clean. I love it for the LeBron. It's probably my favorite looking card of all the cards in the game. And I mean, LeBron has just been one of my most consistent players in my entire My Team run. I mean, I still remember so many moments from my 2K13 run on the road to Michael Jordan and road to the playoffs where LeBron would like single-handedly win me the game, whether it was through him scoring or through his like his whatever assisting, dishing the ball out to my other shooters. He was just so much fun to use, and again, I had to get the card for that reason alone. I kind of overpaid, spent like 530K for him or whatever. But he was great. And then my honorary mention for my favorite promo, I guess to an extent, was the New Year's resolution promo, just because we had not gotten any Evo cards that I could remember for quite some time. And even though I didn't love all the players, there were some pretty damn good cards that came out of that promo. I mean, that Buddy Healed, if you can get those 15 steals or if you just buy his Evo'd out card, is one of the best underrated wings in this game because he's an incredible defender. I think he has Hoff clamps, and he is just an absolutely butter release. So, yeah, that's all I got. I hope I bought you enough time to do some research there, Harry.
You did enough. So I wish I had more time to really go through. I should have been more prepared to say cards I liked, but I will say 2 cards I ended up getting this season that I really enjoyed was one, the Pink Diamond Kobe. Kobe's one of my favorite cards to use in 2K. I think his release is so good. I mean, I think I used to use it in Park like back in the day, so I know that release, off the chain. He's really fun. He can do everything, dunking, shooting. He's been really fun. And even though he wasn't an auctionable card, I gotta admit, the John Collins from the token reward, he's been one of my favorite cards. Even though he's 6'9", I think we talked about it earlier on, but his wait, just to backtrack, this card did come out this season, correct?
Yeah, I think John Collins was at the start of season 3. Yeah.
That's what I figured. All right, because I remember we talked about it. But he's only 6'9", but his defensive stats are so good. You would think he's bigger because he's out there getting rebounds. He plays really good defense. He gets a lot of blocks for me, and he actually has like that Wes Unseld release, which I had Wes Unseld in like 2K18. So it brings back a lot of memories using him, and he's been really fun. He's in my starting center now, but I could up my center game. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I'll always use him in my lineup.
Awesome. I guess with that said, that's going to basically wrap up the season 3 portion of this podcast. Again, like Harry and I said at the very top, pretty mid-season overall.
Yep.
There were some highlights, but a lot of lowlights, and we're hopeful that season 4 will give us more positive vibes as we continue to, engage with it. I wanted to know, I guess in general so far, do you have any early thoughts when it comes to the reward players? Because I know when they first dropped on 2KDB, I think initially you were pretty pessimistic. I want to know if you can tell me why you felt that way and if you still feel that way.
I hate to be that guy. Do you mind recapping the rewards for season 4?
Absolutely. So, I can tell you that, well, we can start with Unlimited. Unlimited
Okay.
was I think it's Galaxy Opal Danny Granger. Um, then for Limited, it's the Shea Gilgis Alexander.
Sorry, you cut out. What is the unlimited reward?
Unlimited is Danny Granger.
Got it. Okay.
So Granger for Unlimited, Shea Gilgis Alexander for Limited. Clutch Time is Pascal Siakam for 100 wins. The draft reward is Tony Parker, which no one cares about. The Ascension reward is Maurice Lucas, who is one of my favorite cards. I cannot wait to get him. Hopefully, we'll see. Maurice Lucas. Yao Ming is the level 40 reward. And then the triple threat rewards are, I think, KZ Russell. He's a pink diamond, I think, small forward or shooting guard. Yeah, small forward shooting guard with some really, really nice SIGs. And then I think it's Xavier McDaniel for triple threat offline. Those are the rewards that I could remember.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
And then we got the Galaxy Opal Baron Davis. I forgot for the token reward.
All right, this is a lot to process at once, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, so Unlimited, the Danny Granger. I'm a fan of Danny Granger. Unlike the previous Unlimited reward, I think this is a card that could be on your team for a very long time. He's really OP in every 2K, but I will say this is, again, another example that the XP grind, which people have already gotten Yao Ming, is treated so much better than the Unlimited grind, which takes a lot more time. I mean, I think, although I love Danny, I think there's no denial that Yao Ming is a significantly better reward and someone that you'll probably keep on your team for a longer time. Going to the draft, I think Tony Parker's a joke. I mean, Tony Parker, someone like I think I was gonna go into something, but it's regardless. I think Tony Parker is honestly one of the most like irrelevant people to get on your my team. And this is nothing against Tony, but I mean, there's just so many better options at your point guard. And we're talking about a draft reward that you're probably not even gonna get. I mean, knowing my luck, you can do it many times and just not get the reward. So I think they could have done better in that regard. Limited, I think at the beginning I was a bit too brutal on that reward, but I think the Shy will be a fun card to use. I've never used him in 2K, but it seems like a lot of people are hyped about him. So listen, I'm excited. I'll try it out. What else? What else am I missing? I think what else am I missing? I'm missing something. I think the triple threat offline reward is a bit upsetting to me. I've really spent a lot of my time grinding to get to all the way to 1,000 because I figured they were going to end that on a bang. Or not end it. I mean, there's going to be more rewards. But to me, this was very disappointing. I don't think this card is anywhere near the amount of grind it takes to get to 1,000 wins. So despite all my criticism, I think that's the biggest disappointment in Season 4. And I'm probably missing people, but I will say end it on the token reward. I think that is such an L for me. I mean, I remember we were talking in previous podcasts hyping up who they would actually put for the Galaxy Opal after so much time waiting. And listen, Baron Davis is fun. I mean, I remember doing KOK back in 2K18, and he was on the team, and I had so much fun using that card. But that card is not worth... I mean, I'm sure it is worth the 750, but if you're going to do a Galaxy Opal after so long of hyping it up and not giving any notice about it, you got to do something cool. And I really think this is just a card that 2K knows that no one's going to really be spending too much money on for packs. So they wanted to put a card like that, and I think that's upsetting. And, you know, no matter what you can say to defend Barry Davis, I have a feeling that's why 2K did it. There's so many better Galaxy Opals that they could have done. And I know, Jan, you've been saving up your tokens for such a long time. I mean, we've had so much time the entire past seasons to kind of get it up and up and up in waiting for this card, and this is an L. I think they really could have tried better and did better.
Yeah,
and do better, I mean.
I think so. I'll start with the Baron Davis. I think he's a fine card. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think the big issue with Baron Davis is, well, there's a few issues. One of which
He's another point
he's a
guard.
point guard.
I
Exactly.
forgot to mention that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a point guard, which is a bit of an issue. And, my thing is, like you said, I've been saving up my tokens for a really long time. I'm at 1,832 tokens right now. And
God damn.
I know. And I got to play on Deuce's account because Deuce's got the Baron Davis, and he's a great release. He has a nice dunk package for the most part from what I use in freestyle. Yeah. My big issue with the Baron Davis card, besides the fact that he's a point guard, is I believe he has base dribble style, and I am not someone to come out here and complain about dribbling. Yeah, I think so. But my issue is his dribbling, and I think his behind the back is not that good. I mean, I genuinely need a point guard that when I'm doing it behind the back can get that little like boost of speed, kind of like zipping across when he's changing direction with that. Like
it's
Gary Payton has that, and
I'm pretty sure
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny because I think in KOK he had the best the running he had like the really nice running behind the back. I remember, and even his rhythm dribbler, which I don't even know if you're not big into dribbling, but I remember the reason I had him on my KOK team was because he had like the best dribbling, and I think I even enjoyed dribbling with him more than Curry at the time. So pointing that he also isn't as good dribbling wise.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. Going on to the other rewards, I agree with the majority of your points. I am excited for the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's probably one of the other big reasons why I'm not going for the Baron Davis. I mean, yes, you can make the argument that I'm not going to see Shai for like 6 weeks. But at the same time, I just really prioritize having players that are taller. Like, Baron Davis is not bad. Like, 6'3" is not short, in my opinion, or like not super short at the point guard spot. But Shai, I think, is 6'6" with a 6'11" wingspan, which is really, really nice. He has the slasher dribble style, which is whatever. I'm okay with that because I think that's what Dr. J has, and I make it work. It's okay. But I just really want to get that Shai. I'm sure we're going to get other Galaxy Opal point guards, moving on. And I have Gary Payton. I love Gary Payton. Payton is not going to really be replaced for me until I get a Dark Matter or Galaxy Opal Gary Payton, I think. But I have another point guard spot, obviously, and I want to be able to give that to another player that maybe is not in the game yet. So, and then for the other rewards, there really isn't anything else I really want to touch on besides the Maurice Lucas for the Ascension board. He looks absolutely cracked, especially on defense. I really, really want that card. I'm assuming you didn't look at his badges, Harry, but I'm going to tell you what they are on defense. He has the following Hall of Fame badges on defense: Box, Brick Wall, Chase Down Artist, Defensive Leader, Clamps, Interceptor, Intimidator, Pogo Stick, Post Lockdown, Rebound Chaser, Rim Protector, Tireless Defender, and Worm. So over 50% of the badges that you can get on the defensive side of the ball, Maurice Lucas has them on Hoff, which is nuts. He's a 6'9" power forward center, and what's great about him being a power forward is I've been running Quinn Snyder as my diamond head coach instead of Steph Curry, just because you get that boost to speed to all your players. And the only players that don't get a +5-3 as well as speed in that sort of system, I think that's pace and space, are centers. So Maurice Lucas, who I would run at my center spot, is a primary power forward. So he's going to get the boost to the three-pointer and speed. So I really want that card.
Sorry, can I make one more comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say, when I'm wrong, I will admit I'm wrong. It turns out I made a mistake. The 1,000 reward is actually Galaxy Opal Terry Cummings, which I will say I still think is a little bit disappointing. The card is really nice, but I think for 1,000 wins, especially how long this grind has taken from day one, I think they need a bigger name for a reward like that. But it's a big step up compared to what I thought was, Xavier McDaniels. So I will say.
I mean, that is my fault. I completely forgot about him. I guess maybe McDaniels is the vault reward and Cummings is the other one.
He is.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, besides that, I mean, I agree with basically everything else you said. And again, I mentioned Reggie Lewis. It sucks that he's locked behind RNG, but if you can get him, if you're lucky enough to get him, I just think he's going to be such a good shooting guard for you. I feel like he's going to be a mainstay for a while because he's free if you can get him. And, I mean, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. We also got heat checks. Heat checks are kind of meh to me. They're kind of just like pack filler. The only thing I like about them is you can add them for your collector level. That's it. You know? I don't know if you have any thoughts on heat check.
Yeah, I don't want to keep knocking down 2K, but I will say heat checks, I feel like 2K never knows how to incorporate them in a fun way to make the game more exciting. I will say it's great for collecting, so if that's something that people are into, then that's great. But I feel like I don't know what it is, so I shouldn't really complain about something I don't know what a solution would be. But I feel like there's got to be a cooler and more fun way to incorporate that. I mean, I compare that to the dynamic duos. I feel like 2K is never able to. There's not that much longevity in that for like an entire year.
Yeah, I totally agree. It would be nice if they could figure out a way to kind of make heat checks a little more engaging, but ultimately I just think they are what they are. I got lucky, quote unquote, and I packed a heat check Luca, which is pretty cool. But I mean, I'm only keeping him just so I can do the agendas with him, which I think kind of will help us segue into the next point, which is I think 2K did a really good job of giving us a ridiculous amount of XP to start season 4. I mean, one of their big selling points for doing the Showtime, whatever it's called, in the Showdown tier in Unlimited, where you have to go 65 and 17 at minimum to get the little collectible for it to give you 15,000 XP on day 1 of the new season. If you did that and you got that collectible, you were able to get Yao Ming on day 1 of season 4 this year, which I think is great. I also think it's a terrible idea to do that because I enjoy, going through the
Yeah.
level grind throughout the first few weeks or the entirety of the season. But I like that they gave us so much so much XP to potentially earn on day 1, because if you're someone who isn't able to get on as much, you can know that whenever you get on my team this season, there's almost always going to be something for you to grind, whether it's the daily stuff that you want to take care of or whatever they gave us on day 1. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stuff for you to do that you have not yet done from day 1, because I don't think a lot of people have hit that 135k XP amount, which I believe is how much you can get for completing everything they gave you on day 1. What are your thoughts, I guess? Do you think it's a W for them to have given us so many XP agendas on day 1?
I'm not for it at all. There's three things I want to say. One, this is kind of back to what I said before, but I mean the fact that you can get Yao Ming day 1 on 2K, yet you need to grind unlimited, which would take so long and get a pretty much a lesser card. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's great that they're giving us XP, but the fact that they can't give us empty rewards is still a little annoying. But I'll also say I'll actually make a related comment that I think the way listen, I only grinded season 1 XP, so I feel like I don't really have much of I can't really talk about the other ones, but I will say one thing one thing I liked about season 1 grinding it, as hard as it was and then as annoying as it could be, that I think beat every other season after that, was that it really felt like it was forcing you to kind of play the entire season out. I mean, from making you play with every card from each promo and making that a high thing, so at least you get to experience other cards and not just your own. I thought that's great. I think like having you play all the different game modes, whether limited and all that stuff, which carried over the entire season. I feel like that was like the right way to do it, because and listen, I think if they could definitely increase the XP rewards from that, which would have made it easier. But I think one thing that season 1 had over the other ones, that it really felt like a seasonal grind that made you kind of experience every aspect of my team compared to just getting it like Yao Ming in day 1, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I mean, I think that's a very good counter argument. I guess my whole stance on it is I just like that if you're a busy person and you're not able to log in every single day into my team, or like you have like one free weekend, for example, and you want to grind out some XP, you're not going to feel like, oh, I missed out on so much potential XP, where you can just look at the heat check agendas, or the 6 series that we got on Friday, their agendas, and you can have a lot to grind that weekend, and you can put a sizable dent into the XP that you need for level 40 on that particular weekend. But I hear you though. You make very, very good points. And I mean, I guess that's basically it. I mean, season 4 came out 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So there really isn't a lot to really talk about on it. Are there any things that you have in your mind that you want to see 2K implement in this season that maybe they haven't, or that they have but they haven't done in a while, that you'd like to see them bring back in season 4?
That's an interesting idea. I mean, I know I keep repeating it over and over again, but one thing they do need to fix is MT rewards. I really want to feel like I'm playing a game that I'm rewarded for MT-wise. Like, it's hard when you're playing so much and you're not really getting rewarded and you're not making enough MT, and then they're releasing even bigger cards where you feel like I don't want to feel as if I buy a newer card, it's going to be really hard for me to get back to that MT spot. I mean, that's why it takes a long time for me to buy players because a part of me is fearful that it's like it takes a long time to even make 100K in my team. So I think, like I keep saying, even if it's something where you make like 2K every game clutch time instead of an RNG where you might not even get the reward or like in the games they up it so you make more MT doing whatever. And I think things like that are just going to make the game fun. I mean, that's been like, I know that this has been an entire year thing, so it's weird complaining about this now, but that's definitely been turning me off from one buying cards, which is like the entire point of my team, but also playing the game. So
Yeah, I agree. If they can make the rewards better, which it would be really tough for me to see them doing that just because it's 2K, and I just have no faith in them doing anything that's right by us to like give us more stuff to earn, you know. But if they could do that, I think that would be great just to increase, overall engagement. I mean, like when they gave us the moments of the month agenda, just the amount of community engagement that I saw was amazing. I mean, I didn't get to really talk about it because I completely forgot, but that whole first weekend and even the first couple of days of of last week, like basically within the first week of the moments of the month being out, the number of times that I went into an online game with players from that DeMar lifetime agenda, like I would take, for example, the Devontae Graham, who you need to get 5 4-pointers with over multiple clutch time games. The one game that I took him in, my opponent also had Devontae Graham. I left him open for 4 on the first play, and he did the same thing for me. And we continued doing that the entire game until the end of the game. It was amazing. I mean, like, for a community that I still think, for the most part, I don't want to say is toxic, but they're just very immature, I feel like. Between, like, the flash pausing in TTO, people putting in their mics whenever they're down in TTO, like, it's just, in my opinion, there are not everyone is like that, but there are quite a few bad apples.
I'm telling you, you'll find like glimmers of hope in the 2K community. This is kind of related, but it's like a funny story, or not funny, but it's a nice like heartwarming story. I remember when Kobe passed away and Los was playing my team, and he played a game, and it was like the day he passed, and he did the 24-second shot clock violation because that's what all the NBA teams were doing, for Kobe because he was number 24, and he did it, and then the opponent did it right after. And this was in like one of the harder ranked, rankings on Unlimited, and that's unheard of in the how toxic 2K can get, especially as you grind more and more and get into harder and harder seeds. So I think you'll find like glimmers of hope and goodness in this very toxic community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't really convinced until I saw that happen. So that was just really, really nice to see. And in general, it was just nice to see the community engage in content that much. And I think that hopefully opens 2K's eyes to seeing, okay, like, if we want people to log into our game daily and stay logged into our game daily, a big way that we can do that and attract more people to it is by giving them more stuff to do offline that's worth it. Like, those moments of the month players, most of them are not really usable in high-end competitive play, but like, I took Kemba Walker into a few clutch time games, and I had a blast dribbling with him, crossing people up, hitting ridiculous three-point shots. That Jaylen Brown is actually a pretty good card to use. He has very good defense. He's a very nice release. And then the DeMar DeRozan's a really solid card, too. Like, he's not going to be, whatever, top 5 or maybe even top 10 at the small forward spot. And if he had shooting guard eligibility, that would make him a little more interesting. But he's still a really fun card. I'm going to bring him off the bench if I ever run a game that requires a 10-man lineup, but I just, I love clutch time too much to ever do that. But again, it's kind of proof of concept, right? Like, if they can do that kind of stuff every single month, it at least gives us something as a community to potentially look forward to, which kind of goes back to your point. They need to reward the community more and give us more things to do that get us rewarded.
I agree. And then even rushing a Yao Ming reward, which should be the main headliner of Season 4, and then people are getting it day 1. It's like, it just takes away such a critical aspect that people look forward to and get hyped about and talk about like all season. Like, I remember in Season 1, me, you, and Deuces, we were, every day seemed like, oh, like, what XP are you at? Like, just so excited to get Melo on our team. And to think that has all ended on day 1 of hype for people to get that card is a little disappointing.
I know, and we were literally agonizing until like the final week of the season.
Literally the final week.
I
And like
know.
going back to what you said, I felt that was a very because it wasn't just us. I saw the entire community. I would see people be like, "Oh, Matt, whatever XP, do you think I'll get him?" Or like, "I'm so hyped to get him. I'm like 5K away or whatever it is." So my point is, I feel like that was also an aspect of communication and community that they took out. But I guess I don't know if we're ending soon, but I guess ended on kind of a positive note. Even though I have been kind of torching this game mode, I am excited for what's to come. I mean, the rewards aren't really as exciting for me. There's some I'm kind of into. But I think it'll be good. I'm hoping that it's not like last season where there's very like highs and lows. I hope they can stay rather neutral, if not going up, on an incline the entire time. So I guess I'm excited for our next podcast to get a brief overlook on how my team has handled this season.
Yeah, I am too. I'm hopeful that we can have, I guess, more positive things to talk about. I'm hopeful that
This
like
was like our
maybe
most negative, or most like pessimistic podcast.
I just think, well, I would say that we've been realistic in basically every single one. Like, we're not obviously going to share the
Yeah,
same
no, oh,
sentiment as
for
the rest of the
sure.
community, but I think we're both true to, like, how we actually feel. Like, Harry and I are never going to sugarcoat anything. We're not sponsored by anybody. We're literally just doing this podcast because we enjoy making the podcast. Whether we have one person watching it or many more than that, even if it's just ourselves, because like Harry's mentioned it, I've done the same thing where like I'll be doing like an offline thing in this game and I just want to have like something to listen to in the background. I'll just replay our podcast. um
Yep, yeah.
so yeah, but the point being is, yes, while we were
But I also
negative
think
in
that
this,
like
go
what's
ahead.
good about.
Sorry,
Sorry,
go
no,
ahead.
continue.
No, I mean,
No,
I was gonna say was I'm just happy. Sorry, no, we keep cutting each other off. All I wanted to say was I feel like we're gonna continue to be ourselves and be honest, and if that leads to us being more negative, that's more of a 2K problem, not our problem.
For sure. And I was also gonna say like. I think it's one thing for us to be like, well, we don't like unlimited. You know what I mean? I feel like there's majority of the negatives and complaints that we've had. I've been like, well, we don't like that, but here's what 2K can do. Not that they're going to do it. They're probably not going to do it. But I think at least, like you said, we're being honest. We're not just fully being like, I'm going to hate, the rewards because I'm not liking 2K. I'm saying, well, they could have done that better. They could have gotten him. He would have been a cooler, or like the Baron Davis. I think that they could have gotten a bigger name for people who grinded so hard for tokens, and that's kind of a disappointment for me. So I think at least we're offering better ideas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's actually a great point. I think it's one thing to be critical of a game, but if you're going to be critical of a game and you're not going to offer solutions in your mind, then you're just being critical for the sake
You're
of being
you're just
critical.
wasting time. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
perfectly said. All right, I guess that just about wraps it up. Harry, thanks again. As always, it was a pleasure having you on. And then we'll see. Harry and I may be bringing a different kind of podcast to you later on
Mm.
this month. That's all I'm going to say. And if you want to see what that is, you're going to have to tune in to see. But that should be a really, really good one. It's going to be a little different from our regular 2K stuff, but I think it's a topic that we're both relatively passionate in, even though I haven't really engaged in this topic as much as I used to when I was a little bit younger. I still think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you're going to hear a different side of Harry because he gets fired up like no other whenever it comes to talking about this topic. So, Harry, I can't wait for that, and hopefully we can record that really soon. Thanks as always.